Hello, folks. ISB as an institution is fairly student-led, and the graduate student body, or the GSB, is instrumental in working with the authorities to ensure every student's journey is as smooth as possible. This year, instead of having presentations, we have all the GSB members in an unplugged video where they tell us what their roles and responsibilities have been, as well as a fun rapid fire in the end. So let's hear what they have to say. Hello, Raghav.
Hi.
What does the GSB president do? What are your responsibilities beyond being the figurehead role of overseeing other PR holders?
So that technically is the responsibility to kind of oversee that everyone's doing their work well, which doesn't sound very inspiring. But I think for me, what mattered as a president was that the president is supposed to be someone who's a common thread that brings everything together, which is something that I think a president should be able to do, to be able to bring multiple people and their ideas together, to be able to bring about some kind of quantifiable initiatives to action through the year.
Why did you decide to run for this position and what steps did you follow?
It was actually really funny. I had decided I'll come to college and just chill and not do anything at all. But I became a section Spock in my first week, I mean, during the orientation week. And then I realized that I was having a lot of fun doing it. And that's it. I honestly decided to run on a whim. I did not even know what the full form of DHM was till the second day of DHM. So there was no prep that went into being the president.
Who are the most critical stakeholders you end up dealing with?
I think just given the year that we had the operations team, we ended up interacting with the operations team the most. Apart from that, the council directors, sometimes the dean's office, and a lot of interaction with the ASA, and of course the SEAL team.
What are the greatest disadvantages of being at this position?
My greatest disadvantage was that the few parties that I used to get invited to, I never used to be able to go to them because there was a 15-person rule, and we were in the height of COVID, so I used to stand outside and wish people happy birthday and come back. So I did not get to party as much, and I still managed to party quite a bit.
What are some skills that are required to be GSB president?
I think for me, I would like to believe that I'm a nice person, and I think a nice guy should become the president, or a nice person should become the president. In terms of skills, and again, I'm not trying to sound pretentious, but everyone will have the skill set that you need. You need to be able to coordinate, you need to be able to manage your time well. But for me, the most important thing is that the president, whoever that president is, that person is a nice person, because I think if the president wants, they can screw up a lot of other things for other people and just make life difficult, which I think is not a great thing to do. So I think the skill is to be a nice person.
Did it help being the GSB president in your placement?
Of course not. I'm really smart. No, but okay, actually, let's turn this question around. What is it that you learn by being a GSP president, right? You get to manage a lot of people, you get to coordinate with a lot of people. And one of the most amazing things about being the president is you're not managing people who are your subordinates. You're trying to kind of manage your peers, which I think is a fantastic lesson to learn. So it's a great signal for any company saying that if this person was the president and managed all of this, then maybe this person will be able to manage the challenges of their role as well. And most MBAs end up being managers. So in that way, it helped with placements. Other people say it also helps you get shortlists, but I'm not exactly aware of that.
And that's Ronak, FGC Council Director. What is FGC, Ronak, and what does it do?
So the FGC stands for Finance and Governance Council, and in one line, it basically keeps all POR holders accountable throughout the year for the promises they make at the start of the year.
Have you kept your promises?
That's a secret. We'll release it once the survey results come out.
Okay, so since it says finance, do I need a finance and accounts background for it?
So I'll give you my background. I'm a computer science engineer with 4 years of work experience in cybersecurity who got a C grade in the FATM paper that he took. And I am your FGC director, so clearly no is the answer to that.
Okay, and how much work did you have to do in the year?
So the first 3 months were very hectic because the people, the processes, the structures, they all need to be set up. We had to take around 300 plus interviews during that phase just to set up the clubs, the councils and everything. But I think after that, it kind of phases out where there are months where you have a lot of work in the first 7 to 8 days when you're setting up the budget and everything. And then it's kind of chill. And then after placements, it's mostly been chill so far. There hasn't been much work.
Is it a cohort facing role?
No, it is not. So a lot of people even today ask me what exactly is it that the FGC does, because it is not a student cohort facing role. It mostly acts in the background. So essentially the role of FGC is that of a facilitator. So you facilitate the other members of the cohort to reach their potential.
Can you tell us the 4 pillars of FGC?
So the 4 pillars of FGC are: first would be budget, where basically you're allocated the entire budget for the year and you have to allocate that to different clubs and events throughout the year. The second would be a person associated to be the governance coordinator, whose essential job is to make sure that all the club presidents, vice presidents are smoothly getting along and all the deliverables are getting done. The third would be a B School coordinator, who is coordinating all case competitions within campus and outside. And the fourth would be a lead coordinator role for the Shadow or CEO program, where basically you get to shadow one CEO for one day. There's an entire bidding process associated with it, and this person is in charge of the entire event.
So what does the team composition of FGC look like?
So your team will comprise of 4 other members, each assigned to one of the pillars that we talked about. So you'll have one person handling, who will be the treasurer handling the budget. There'll be a governance director who will be handling your governance. There'll be a B School coordinator, and the LC for the Shadow or CEO program will have a team of their own of around 4 or 5 people handling the entire event.
What are some of the challenges that we should address upfront for this council?
I think one of the challenges upfront is that setting a very clear process and procedure of how you want to go about getting your budget approvals in place, or the budget requests from the clubs, and then taking them, consolidating them, forwarding them to the SEAL team, coordinating with the 2 teams can become a challenge at times. So if you are very clear in your decision making as to what the process and structure should look like, it will make your life much easier in the first few months that you'll be working as a director.
Hi Beer,
Hey Tammy, what's up?
how are you?
Amazing. It's a beautiful day on campus today.
Tell us about the AAC. What do you do? What are your roles and responsibilities?
So if I were to summarize the roles and responsibilities of Academic Affairs Council, I would broadly classify it into 3 categories. First and foremost, it is easing up the academic life of the cohort. Second is managing the relationship with faculty. And third is peer-to-peer learning.
Why did you decide to run for this GSB position?
So I am a true believer of peer-to-peer learning, right? And I believe that one of the best things that ISB has provided us is a platform to interact with 900 of the best minds in India, right? And even before our ISB journey started, I took up an initiative known as knowledge sharing sessions, wherein we used to invite students from within the cohort to take up sessions for us. And it was very well appreciated by everyone, right? And I sort of saw the power of peer-to-peer learning over there, right? And I wanted to take that forward as we progress through our ISB journey. And that's where AAC was the best fit for me.
How did you decide to select the core team for yourself?
The biggest criteria for me was how committed you are to making or to easing up the academic life, right? Because you need to sort of look after not only your own academics, but also at the time make sure that you fulfill your responsibilities, right? And that can be very challenging. So for me, that was the one thing that I looked for.
So Beer, tell us about some of the challenges you faced as an AAC director.
One and the only challenge I would say is managing the expectations of the entire cohort, right? It's a 600 diverse minds, and that too the best minds of the country. Everyone has its own expectations, and you need to find out a way of not only managing the expectations of the cohort, but also the academic body of ISB, right? That can be a little challenging at times. That's it.
And tell us, what are the pros and cons of this position?
Okay. Pros, I would say, as with any position of responsibility, pro is that you get to network with a lot of people, right? When people come to you with their queries, right, you need to find out a way to help them, and that sort of helps you in establishing an instant connect, right? That is one of the good pros, that you get to meet everyone on the cohort. And not only the cohort members, but also professors, right? You get to network with the professors as well. As far as the con is concerned, I would just say one thing, that it's one of the time-consuming tasks, right? And there will be times when you have your exam in the morning, and you're getting a call from someone in the cohort that, okay, Beer, I'm not feeling well, what to do? And then at that time, you need to make sure that you take out time to help that person, right? So it's a time-consuming task, and you need to be prepared for it. That's it.
Okay. And what is some advice that you would give class of 23 for those who want to stand for this position?
Just one advice, guys. Academic affairs, like I mentioned in my previous answer, it's one of the tough positions, right? And only if you're 100% committed to it, then go for it. And once you select it, then you'll have lots of fun.
Hello, Skand. Tell us, what is SLC and what you do and what it's about.
It's basically in charge of all sort of celebrations and cultural festivities and parties and stuff like that. So all of that. And in my year, I had to also look into distributing alcohol to everybody. So that was part of it. So you're sort of in charge of making sure people have fun.
What traits do you think would make someone a good fit for this role?
First is that they should like to have fun themselves. Like everybody likes to have fun, but like seriously a little bit. And I would say you have to be a little thick-skinned. You have to be good at communicating, I think, and also you need to be good with details because a lot of details you need to look into while planning for events.
What is the best part of your role?
I got a lot of gifts from my alcohol vendor. I guess that was pretty chill. But apart from that, I think, that's more generic for everybody. Is like sort of being able to meet people and sort of like connecting with people. I think that was the best part of the job.
And the worst part?
Worst part is getting people to read anything. Like people won't read anything that you give them. Even if it's 2 lines, they'll just like skip through it. So yeah,
What is something that you have done that the cohort doesn't know?
I've loaned the school 1,20,000 rupees.
So what's something you wish you had known earlier?
That the campus has some extreme sort of limitations on where and how long you can party.
Hi, Jasil.
Hello, Tamanna.
Tell us, what is the MCC? What are the roles and responsibilities that you have?
All right, so the MCC stands for the Marketing and Communications Council, and the MCC takes care of all the communications, media, and marketing activities for students, internal as well as external, at ISB, mainly for the PGP batch. So a couple of things that we do. So we are in charge of the annual yearbook. We are in charge of a page called Life at ISB on Instagram as well as on YouTube. And all the activities that happen all year around in campus, we are in charge of curating it and spreading it on the internet, on social media, and so on. In addition to all of this, we have around 55 different clubs and student organizations on campus. And we are in charge of making sure that all the kind of creative content or visual content that they bring out for marketing their events fall within the brand guidelines. And they're attractive and, go out to the world in a good way.
Tell us, why is MCC so important to a high-ranking and prestigious school like ISB?
So when it comes to a business school, what you could see is the main differences between an ISB and an IIM is that ISB is very outwardly marketing, whether it's on social media, whether it's on their websites or by events and so on, right? And that is why we get the kind of students that we get on campus. And this is primarily led through student initiatives in the beginning, after which the officials take over. So this is really important because the students kind of know what is more important for their education, for their careers, for their journey in campus, as well as their life on campus, right? And we can help the management propagate these ideas much better to prospective students and help elevate the brand of ISB in India.
What does one day in the life of Jasil look like?
So most of the time it is helping different clubs and different event groups come up with good creatives and help them, frame it in the way that ISB brand guidelines are followed. But that is more of the business as usual part. The more interesting things are on the lines of the Life at ISB pages that we have started. So here, whenever there is an event on campus or any activity for the matter, our team kind of goes and shoots the whole thing, and we kind of bring bite-sized content for each of this. So there's a lot of brainstorming, storyboarding, and other activities that we do to make sure that these activities are all shown in the best possible way to future students as well as to our current batch and alums. The last but not the least, we also manage the campus yearbook at the end of every batch. So this requires a lot of coordination to get stories from all 600 students who had their pre-ISB experiences, on-campus experiences, as well as what they're going to do outside, right, after ISB. So it's a 2-month-long initiative which requires all kinds of creativity, whether it's design, content, visual, marketing, and so on, as well as a lot of coordination with the student body.
Okay. And what are some of the changes that MCC has brought in the last year?
All right. So a couple of the changes that we have brought. The first one is unification of our communication strategy. So here, in the previous years, there used to be a lot of Instagram pages, a lot of YouTube channels and so on for every small initiative on campus. And once a student, a year kind of graduates, it's kind of lost, right? So this year we decided to unify everything under a single umbrella. Because of that, we've gained huge traction. So our Instagram page has almost hit 2,000 followers. Our YouTube channel has hit 10,000 views and is going strong. So what we envision is that in the future, probably 5 years down the line, it's going to be a one-stop shop for everything life at ISB inside campus.
Lovely. And what are some skills that you think anybody who's hoping to apply for this role should have?
While I would be tempted to say that this requires a lot of, graphic design, photography, and video creation kind of skills, I would say it's more of a people management role than any other. So, people coordination, understanding how to manage your time, and project management are the most important skills. But of course, since it involves a lot of visual elements and creativity, I think me personally having graphic design and video editing skills actually help quite a bit, because you kind of know what you want when you're communicating with your team because you already have that experience. So people with both of this kind of an experience would find it quite easy in the MCC role.
Hello.
Hello.
Tell me, what is CAC about? What does it do? What do you do? What are your roles and responsibilities?
Sure. So CAC is the Career Advancement Council. It is one of the GSB councils that looks after the entire placement activities along with the career advancement services. So the main activities that CAC team performs throughout the year are managing the speaker sessions, the leadership talks that we have throughout the year leading up to placements, the pre-placement talks. We also conduct resume building workshops and conduct resume review sessions with alums. Along with that, coming on to the mock interviews. So we also conduct mock interview sessions, mock interview workshops, along with online mock interviews with alums. And then leading up to placements, we are the ones handling all the placement related queries of the cohort, and then transferring those queries to the Career Advancement Council that in turn transfer those queries to the recruiters. So these are the broad activities that the Career Advancement Council performs at ISB.
Okay, and why did you want to be a part of the GSB? How did you decide that you want to be director of CAC?
Yeah, so a brief background. So during my undergrad, I didn't have any significant POR. So before coming to ISB, I wanted to be a part of any one of the elected positions that are at ISB. So while talking to alums, while talking to my friends who were at ISB, I decided that I would go for one of the GSB council positions. And among those council positions, CAC was the one that resonated with me the most, because effectively we are at ISB primarily because of placements, because everyone wants a dream job in their dream company.
Okay, and how did you go about forming the right kind of team, considering this is one of the more important roles?
Yeah, so one of the most important factors that I looked for in my team members was the commitment to work hard, because everyone knows that in the run up to placements, things become very testy. You have to work very hard when everyone else is focusing only on their placements, and you also have to prep for your placements as well. So that was one of the most important factors. The other factors that I looked for were diversity in terms of gender, work experience, and expertise.
Lovely. So what are the pros and cons of this position?
So the pros are that literally everyone knows you, because everyone will have placement related queries at some point or the other. The other pro is that you get to interact with a lot of recruiters, the industry leaders, the CEOs, CXOs, and CFOs of big companies that come to hire at ISB. So these are the pros, and cons would be that you have to be very, very strict with your time management, because with CAC POR, if you are not judicious with your time, you can mess up your acads very easily.
And could you throw some light on how the placement season went for class of 22?
Yeah. So this year we had the best ever placements in ISB's history. So we managed to get an average C2C of around 34.1 lakhs per annum. That's a jump of 21% compared to previous year's average C2C. We also received the highest ever offers at ISB that stands at 2066 offers. That roughly translates to 2.2 offers per student. So this year's placement season has been just amazing.
What is some advice that you would give to class of 23 to those who are hoping to apply for this position?
Just not go for elections just because you want to get into a GSP. Do your research thoroughly, talk to alums, talk to your batchmates as to what are the problems that they are facing or they might face in the coming months, and then decide your council that you would want to run for. Create a vision, create a strong manifesto, and then present your ideas and vision to your cohort members.
Hi, Ashika.
Hi, Tamanna.
Tell us what is the ALC and what does it do?
Sure. ALC is the Alumni Affairs Council. It is primarily responsible, as the name says, for managing the 11,000 plus alum base that ISB has and making sure that they are connected to the current batch, as in the PGP class of 22 in our case. So for us, our team is as big as 6 team members plus me. So we are responsible for making sure that the current batch need is being fulfilled by alumni events, such as networking events, awareness events, placement prep sessions. And we also are responsible for arranging Solstice, which is an annual alumni event.
And what prompted you to go for this role?
Before even joining ISB, I was pretty confused as to which role is a good fit for me and, which role to explore, as I'm sure the next batch also must be. So what I did was I started contacting ISB alums through LinkedIn. And while doing that, I reached out to alums from different, different fields like Genman, consulting, manufacturing, operations, and spoke to them about their roles and the kind of roles that are available post ISB. So while doing this, I realized that why not do it for the entire batch? So that's why I thought, let's go for this role.
Tell us some things about what you did in the year.
Sure. So we started the year with a video made for our seniors. I hope the next batch also does. Cue that. So that video had like dance, music, poetry, words, everything. Next up, we started having sessions with alums regarding life at ISB activities such as ELP, pro bono, case comms, and academics, so on and so forth. After that, we did various sessions for placement prep, like resume review sessions, mock interviews, so on and so forth. And then we started doing offline networking sessions and workshops. So these were everything that we did, apart from obviously arranging Solstice, which is the grand event of the year.
Okay, and tell me, does this role help with placements?
So the thing is, there are various aspects to this question. In terms of placement, obviously, if you think of the skill sets that you achieve from this role, as I mentioned, stakeholder management, leadership, teamwork, even public speaking. So in this role, you have to do a lot of public speaking and speaking in front of strangers, mass communications, emails. So you get very confident at the end of the year in all of that. So in that ways, it helps you during your interviews when that confidence is needed. Also, while arranging events, you will contact a lot of alumni. So that alumni becomes a part of your network. During placements, you'll need to contact a lot of alums for resume reviews, mock interviews, as well as for company and industry prep. So in that time, the network that you build now will come very handy. So in that ways, it helps for placement.
One piece of advice that you'd like to give anybody who applies for this role?
So Solstice is actually a very big responsibility. One thing that I wish I could do was to prep earlier, to start the prep earlier for Solstice. So I would definitely push whoever wins this post to start the prep and contact the alumni engagement office earlier. And then maybe, start recruiting your team, which is a big one, 40 plus peers, earlier.
Hi, Manan.
Hi, Tam. What's up?
So tell me, what is OSC? What do you do? What is your responsibility?
Okay, so OSC is the Operations and Sustainability Council. What do we do? In one line, we try to make sure that everybody on campus, like all of the students, we can focus on what we are actually here for, that is partying and studying.
So there are 7 other positions in the GSB. Why did you decide to run for this one?
So those are both the things, operations and sustainability, that are really close to my heart. I come from an operations background. I'm going into it again. Sustainability has always been close to my heart. So I felt like this role was a really good fit for me. Other than that, also during COVID, this role has gained, some more significance. And the previous OSC director, he also sold the role really well to me.
So tell us about your team. How many people are there? How did you decide who to select for it?
Okay, so we are a team of 7 people, including me, and there are 6 different coordinators within OSCs. So one thing that I looked for in everyone was like some sort of passion to actually, work together, and I wanted it to be a fun team. That was my main thing going into it. So my motto is people who can have fun together, they can also work really well together. So that is what I went with, and it's worked really well for me.
So when you were selecting people, what are the qualities that you think will be skills or important for somebody applying for your position?
I think the biggest one would be time management, because there will be days when you have a lot of to. It's a full day, packed schedule. You have meetings right after the other. And on the other hand, there are also days when you are just chilling, like today. And another thing which is really, really important is just having bucket loads of patience, because people are coming here for the first time. They have a lot of different kind of queries, and you have to be patient enough and well organized enough to be able to respond to all of those.
Okay. Tell us some of the activities that fall under the purview of OSC.
So there are 5 pillars to OSC. Sustainability. So making sure that everything on campus is as sustainable as possible. Then there's student accommodation and events. So this is one role. Events is a very important factor, because as OSC, our job is to make sure that all the events happen as seamlessly as possible. So we don't have a big role to play in all the other events. That really depends on the event coordinator, how much they want to be involved in it. But from our perspective, it's important that every event gets its fair share of time. Like there are no scheduling conflicts and those sort of things. We have to make sure of that. Other than that, there's the facilities coordinator. So all of these things, LRC, where we are at right now, it's a beautiful building, rec center, football, all of these things, we have to make sure that these are all working really well together.
Okay, so tell us, how has OSC added value to you? What are the pros and cons of this role?
Okay, so I think the biggest pro would be, it's kind of like everybody sort of knows you. So I would be one of the few people on campus who has probably interacted with pretty much everyone, like 90-95% of the people. So from a networking point of view, this is very good. On the flip side, if you do a shit job, everybody knows who to throw eggs at. So that is one of the really big advantages. Other than that, it's also given me, so I was not very well organized prior to coming to ISB, but OSC, it's sort of, because it's that kind of role, it sort of forces you to become much more well organized and manage your time just that bit better.
Tell us, how would this role help someone from a placement point of view?
So for all of those behavioral interviews, right, those are all about telling a very compelling story. And for stories, you need content. The role of OSC will give you so much content that you will, be able to, mix and match some element from one or the other story and make like that perfect pitch to give to your potential employers. So that's a really good benefit of being in the OSC.
Okay, so we'll do some quick rapid fire questions.
Okay.
A GSB member who is in charge of making cocktails.
Oh, Skand, making and drinking.
Okay, and who is a GSB member that has a bad taste in music?
I think that would be me.
What is the most illogical request you've received?
I should fight for the refund of entire 40 lakhs. That is the academic fees.
Considering the amazing photographs that you take, have you ever been tempted to charge ISB for them?
Absolutely, and I'll probably be doing that in the next 2 months.
What is a moment of pride in your ISB journey?
When I met the PGP 0001 during my solstice dean's dinner, and he actually gave me a compliment that he had visited 4 to 5 solstices before this, but this was the best solstice ever.
How much alcohol did you end up ordering for the cohort?
51 lakhs worth over 14 weeks.
How many hours a day did you sleep during placements?
Could be 4 to 5 hours, 4 hours on an average.
What is the most absurd request you have received?
Somebody texted me to change their view of the room, which was very random. I don't know how I can do that.
And what's one fashion advice for Raghav?
Stop wearing socks and sandals.
What's with your socks and slippers?
Oh, I'm not wearing them today. I decided to take Skand's advice and not wear them anymore.
What is a governance concern that made you laugh more than make you angry?
I think there was one recently where there's this dog called Milo in SV1 and someone put a collar on them and that became a concern because the person is supposedly taking the ownership of that dog now. Well, that is not the case. So that was pretty funny to listen to.
Okay, tell us who is the most fun person in the GSB according to you?
Has to be Ronak.
What do you like better, being in front of the camera or behind?
Clearly, you guys would have understood that this is not my strong suit. I would prefer it behind the camera.
How many COVID tests do you think you conducted?
Oh, I don't know, above 2.5K, I think.
What's a decision that you had to take under extreme peer pressure?
Oh, locking campus down. We had a lovely, very loud argument in my studio among the GSB members.
What is one secret that the GSB has kept from us?
We kind of had the power to maybe close down campus, shut it entirely, or open it up entirely.
If you could add one more member to the GSB from your cohort, who would you add?
It has to be you, Tammy.
What's an unknown power you have in ISB that we don't know?
No comments.
Perfect. Done. And a college rule that you want to change?
I think when every time we go out, we have to stop the car and put the numbers and PGIDs of 5-6 different people who are traveling together. That can be a pain. So I think that is one thing which can be changed.
I think food.
I would definitely like to change the tenure of ISB. Right now it's 12 months. I would want to make it at least 14 to 15 months.
So who's your favorite GSB member?
Oh, Yashika.
See, I have to say Ronak because he has a lot of shit on me.
Raghav.
Who do you think is the GSB person that is the biggest nerd?
I think Bir Mohit would be one.
Nerdiest would be Bir Mohit.
Who do you think is the ladies' charmer in the GSB directors except for you?
Ronak.
I may go with Manan.
Who is the GSB member that's always late for meetings?
I think that would be me.
Jasil.
Last question. Looking back, would you recommend people to take up this responsibility?
I can honestly not imagine why not. I think everyone should absolutely run.